Okay, Duvid here. Another week at the Detroit Institutes of Arts, Detroit City Chess Club. Very glad to be back. School year's restarted. You can see not a huge crowd. I guess the main chess club isn't back in full force. The school year started, so a few more kids. Definitely much more than been in the summer, but over the next few weeks when the club gets rolling, it'll be back to packed. We'll get the full club in effect. So I thought I'd do a quick ramble on trying to unify thoughts on the various things I'm doing. Obviously there's been a general trend of my research on consciousness, how the brain formulates mind, trying to understand that from various perspectives. The latest, psychological, neurological, biological explanations combined with spiritual explanations from, combined with my experience as a chess coach with children of various age and how people process thoughts and then trying to extrapolate from there, greater narrative of understanding, even possibly the hard problem of consciousness, the greater goal of answering the hard problem of consciousness, which is obviously a pretty extreme goal. It'd be very difficult to actually achieve an answer to the hard problem of consciousness, but certainly try to forward some ideas. So just to recap, I spoke about quite a bit of this last week. After my debate with Jean-Francois Garepi, organized by Brundlefly, about evolution, I basically took a whole year off. I mean, not exclusively, but I took a whole year off to basically research. And I studied a lot of history in Judaism, but I spent a substantial amount of times trying to get to the bottom of the current state of scientific knowledge of consciousness, including the research of historical precursors to consciousness, like the ancients, and stuff I've been studying my whole life, but I really want to put quite a bit of effort into having good an answer as possible. So it's been pretty useful, like the consciousness conference, Professor Hamarov, and the various current scientific theories on the market for how the brain forms consciousness, either with a quantum mind perspective or a pure mechanistic neurological perspective, or the various soul explanations that I tend towards. And then, just working with my experience as a teacher, as a coach, teaching kids how to formulate thought, recognize patterns. And we discussed the various theories that talk about dissonance, the way our minds understand the world to be as opposed to the way the world actually is. And, so it's pretty complicated. The world's a very complicated place. And even in best case scenario, our minds are probably going to have a flawed picture of how the world actually is. And chess is a great example of that in the terms of starting with very simple, like, learning how one piece moves with very simple geometric patterns to deliver, the purpose of the game, which is checkmate. And, going to things that are substantially more complicated, like the coordination of pieces and coordinating all these various pieces. Well, you have an opponent that is trying to do the exact same thing to you. So, we got new recruits, young children. You see, like, the young girl there is kind of probably may or may not even know how the pieces move and just kind of look at him like play toys and putting it in neat patterns. whereas her brother that's slowly learning how to move the pieces. Um, and our regular students came this summer who has a better understanding of how the pieces move. Versus one of our top students here who came almost every week in the summer and has a pretty profound grasp of the game of chess, how it works, and could probably even beat your average adult player that hasn't seriously thought about the game. Versus let alone next week is going to be the battery show. So hopefully I'll stream at this international technology convention with the latest discoveries in battery technology and all the various scientific laws, physics, thermodynamics, chemistry, uh, engineering, manufacture, related to these hundreds of companies that will be showing off their latest technology in batteries and the research related to the companies for how to make batteries that are more efficient, have better storage, more environmentally clean, and the various associated technologies, mostly related to the automotive industry, but also things like generators, power, storage, um, data centers, all these various technologies that require really a lifetime of study. So I collected, my house, I have thousands and thousands of pamphlets because I usually go table to table and gather various, pamphlets and booklets of the various companies, and I'll read through them. And I've read through tens of thousands of them probably now, and I still have thousands of them that I haven't gotten to. So I'll try over the next few days to read through a few hundred of them in preparation for the battery show, and then stream there and show people some of the latest technology, possibly even speak to a few people. Um, but you see the complications of teaching someone very simple ideas leading to complex ideas. So chess is a great thing because it's relatively simple. There's only 6 pieces with simple geometric patterns that a little kid could learn. Like in one sitting, we could teach a kid how to play the game of chess, how to move the various pieces, what checkmate is, and they could even win. I mean, a lot of these kids will take a few weeks to get the rules down straight, and the strategy could take years, lifetime. To see me doing my streams, playing on the internet, and there's still a lot of players that my results in playing that even with years of practice, there's still players much better than me. There's still strategies I'm reviewing and practicing, and so on and so on. And that's just the game of chess. Chess is relatively just a kid's game, so to say. Let alone things like consciousness. I was watching Henry Abramson about Jewish history, and kind of like history as the cosmological argument of first causes. So history is kind of an example of previous causes, like the cosmological argument. The reason things are the way they are now is because of previous causes that happened in the past, and the reason why those were in the way they were in that day was because of previous causes, and so on and so on, going possibly back to the original cause, the primordial mover, like the cosmological argument. But we got some chats. Yeah, I mean, our club is open to everybody. I mean, it's here in Detroit. We're open to everybody. I have blue-eyed students even. All different types. Everyone is welcome. Detroit demographics here are well known, but it's open to everybody. And Like I don't mind. I'll deal with anybody. I've been talking about group selection theory, group evolution, and various peoples have different strategies. Just like chess, the opening techniques in the game are usually referred to nationalities. Some of them refer to the names of the person who came up with them, but a lot of them are referred to, the Dutch, the French, the London system, and so on and so on. That there's even a concept to connect a certain strategy of how you move your chess with groups of people. But no, I don't mind anybody. People are people. There's a universal human strategy, and then there's various. It's like the rules of chess. You could play the French or the Dutch, or the London system or whatever, the Spanish. Um, However, there's a universal chess strategy, just like there's a universal human strategy. Medicine, biology, psychology, sociology. Generally, those trends are universal and apply to all peoples, although you'll have proclivities and certain. But these are the type things I'm trying to unify my thoughts around. To really clarify and deeply understand. Like I was on Church of Entropy, and we're arguing about the origins of algebra, what comes from India and what comes from Muslims and Arabs, and saying like that's really a matter of research, not a matter of debate or argument. Saying like it's more someone should do a book report and just do some studies, history of the first causes, and there's not much debate on the matter. But so I'm going to keep on trying to put my thoughts together. As chess comes here, here we got our blue-eyed kid. He's pretty good actually. This guy's pretty talented. His dad, we're open to everybody here in Detroit. Everyone's welcome. I work with some of the schools, but we train everybody here. Whoever comes in. Detroit's a big city with all different type peoples represented. But everyone's welcome here, and Duvid's a multiculturalist. I don't exclude any type of people, although I might recognize their group strategy, and sometimes group strategies are in conflict with each other to a certain extent, minus the universal human strategy. So I think that's about it for this week. I'm going to try to cut this short, not too much to talk about. A new season, a year of thought, a year of research. I think I'm about ready to start unifying some of these ideas. Like I got my 1,000 subscribers. I'm, monetized. I have a, network of people to, to work with and forward these ideas. Yeah, I guess you mentioned Yuan, Magnus Carlsen, and he lost in the recent speed tournament. And so obviously there is some sort of the current top player for years is dominating, but his dominance isn't by that much. He's not really significantly ahead of the pack. Like he's ahead of the pack. He doesn't even win every single tournament he plays in. Although he has the advantage of being champion. And he's standalone because like ironically, the Nordic teams are not known to be that great. It's just a standalone player who's been world champion for quite a few years. And but it's competitive, and it's interesting. You take note that Magnus is the top player, and but that's why I talk about group selection strategy, universal human selection strategy. The psyche, how the mind works, is universal to all people. There's like the mind of a African, Chinese, Nordic. There might be certain differences, but generally the mind of all those people works the exact same, and that's what I'm trying to get at with the study of consciousness. Like if someone solves the hard problem of consciousness, it's extremely unlikely to basically no chance that the hard problem of consciousness will be different for different people. The solution to the hard problem of consciousness will explain how thought arises not only for one type of people. It's not like you're going to have a different hard problem of conscious for various nations. There's only one hard problem of conscious, and the answer to that question will be the same answer for all peoples. So you have to see what's universal about all nations and all peoples, and what's specific. And if it's a selection strategy, is it something that other people couldn't use? It's like, okay, like I'm not French, but I could play the French, so to say. And like you might be French, but it doesn't mean you're going to play the French every game. And selection strategy might. So there's more to talk about, and we'll keep on talking about these things, and I'll keep on trying to push progress forward. Look forward to my battery stream coming up this week from the battery convention. Big show, people from all over the world. There'll be a lot of people from China. Like relative to the industrial shows here in Detroit that have quite a few people coming from around the world, and the battery show probably has more Chinese company than any of the other various shows. So I think that's Tuesday. Hopefully that worked out. And, so blessings, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Glad to clarify my thoughts and, report some of the better things that are happening here in Detroit. God forbid our student Tyson, who came here, played here over a decade ago, and lost his life to gun violence here in Detroit. So, really sorry about that. He was a bright kid, had a bright future in front of him. Largely did the right thing, went to school, got into the best schools, got a degree in architecture, and unfortunately his life was cut short through gun violence. But you can't let it get down. We keep at it. So God bless everyone. Take care.